She looked at my best friend and said, "Why did I settle for you?" That's when I knew we were over. Her voice cracked through the noise of the bar like glass shattering. "Why did I even settle for you, Ethan?" she slurred, her eyes glinting under the amber lights. I froze, my drink halfway to my lips. "What did you just say?" Emily laughed, too loud, too careless. "You heard me." The music thumped in the background, but I couldn't hear anything except my heartbeat slamming in my chest. "You're drunk," I said quietly. "Let's just go home." She shook her head, smirking. "No, I'm not drunk. I'm finally honest." My throat tightened. "Honest about what?" Her gaze flicked past me, for just a second, toward the booth behind us, where Ryan sat pretending not to watch. That look was all it took. Something cracked inside me. "Emily," I said, my voice barely steady, "what's going on between you and Ryan?" She rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, not this again. You're so insecure, Ethan." "Insecure?" I leaned forward. "You just said you settled for me. And then you looked at my best friend." "Don't twist my words," she snapped. "I'm not twisting anything," I said. "You're saying it yourself." Her smile faltered, just for a moment, then she tossed her hair back. "You always need everything to make sense, don't you? That's your problem. You can't just feel." "Feel?" I repeated, almost laughing. "I've spent years trying to feel enough for you." The table between us felt too small for the distance growing inside me. Her perfume, once comforting, now suffocated me. Ryan stood up suddenly, heading toward the bathroom. I watched him go, my jaw tightening. "He knows," I said quietly. "Doesn't he?" Emily's face went pale. "You're imagining things. Then look me in the eye and tell me nothing's going on." She hesitated. "Just 1 second too long." "That's what I thought," I whispered. She slammed her drink down. "You know what, Ethan? You make me feel like a prisoner. Every question, every look, it's like you're waiting for me to mess up." "Because you already did," I shot back. "You just won't admit it." Her voice rose. "You're impossible. You can't handle the idea that maybe I wanted more than comfort. More than routine. More than you." The room spun around me. People were staring now, the bartender pretending not to. "Then why stay with me?" I asked, my voice breaking. She laughed bitterly. "Because you were safe. Predictable. You'd never leave me, no matter what." My stomach turned. "So I was your backup plan?" She looked at me, and for once, didn't deny it. Silence swallowed us. The music faded into a low hum. I could feel my pulse in my throat, my palms damp against the glass. "You know what hurts the most?" I said quietly. "That I believed we were solid. I defended you every time someone warned me." "Defended me from what?" she asked, almost curious. "From the truth," I said. "From the look you give him." Her jaw tightened. "You're being paranoid." "No, Emily," I said. "I'm being honest." Finally. She stood up, wobbling slightly. "You think you're perfect, Ethan? You think you never made me feel alone?" I blinked at her. "You chose to be alone." She scoffed. "You don't understand what it's like to feel nothing and pretend it's love." That line cut deeper than anything. I stared at her, the words echoing in my head. "Pretend it's love." Ryan returned, awkwardly hovering by the table. His eyes darted between us. "Everything okay?" I turned to him. "Why don't you tell me?" He swallowed hard. "Man, don't do this here." Emily crossed her arms. "Yeah, Ethan, don't make a scene." I laughed, but it sounded like a crack in glass. "You made the scene. I just showed up late to it." Ryan looked away. Emily grabbed her purse. "I'm going home," she said. "With him?" I asked. She froze mid-step, her knuckles widening around the strap. The silence answered for her. I stood too. "Then don't bother coming back." Her voice trembled for the first time. You're really ending this? No, I said. You ended it the second you stopped looking at me the way you used to. She blinked rapidly, maybe from guilt, maybe from the alcohol. You'll regret this. I already do, I whispered. She left without another word, Ryan following a few seconds later. The bar suddenly felt hollow, laughter echoing from distant corners like ghosts mocking me. I sat down again, staring at the untouched drink in front of me. The condensation had pooled into a small circle, like the mark of something fading. My hands trembled. My heart felt like it was collapsing in slow motion. I could still hear her voice, "You were safe." Maybe she was right. I was safe. Too safe. The kind of man who loved with both hands and got burned anyway. That night, I didn't chase after her. I didn't call Ryan. I just sat there until the lights dimmed and the bartender said they were closing. When I finally stepped outside, the cold air hit me like truth. I looked up at the sky, blank, endless, indifferent, and whispered to no one, maybe she just wanted danger. And maybe I was never meant to be her thrill. Remember the first time we burned the pancakes? Emily laughed, holding the pan like a weapon. You blamed the stove. I still say it was the stove, I said, flipping the new batch carefully. You poured half the batter in one go. She grinned. Yeah, because you said you liked them thick. I smiled. Not charred thick. Those mornings were my favorite. Sunday sunlight, messy hair, her humming while I made coffee. The kind of peace that made the world feel small and perfect. She leaned on the counter, sipping orange juice. We should move somewhere with bigger windows, she said once. Someplace where the sun doesn't have to fight its way in. I nodded, pretending I didn't already picture it, her reading on a couch, me working nearby, Ryan dropping by uninvited as always. Back then, Ryan was part of everything. One evening, he showed up with takeout and a grin. My two favorite people. I brought Thai food and bad decisions. Emily laughed, her eyes lighting up. You and your pad Thai obsession. He winked. You love it too, don't lie. I watched her laugh, not just a normal laugh. It lingered. The kind that came from somewhere deep. I told myself I was imagining it. You should see how serious Ethan looks when he eats, Ryan teased. Focused, Emily said, smiling at me. That's what makes him good at everything. I shrugged. I just like food that stays on my plate. They both laughed, and for a moment, it felt normal. Just three people enjoying dinner. But when Ryan reached to grab a spring roll and their fingers brushed, she didn't move away right away. A second too long. A second I'll never forget. Later that night, as she curled up beside me, I asked softly, you and Ryan get along pretty well, huh? She tilted her head. Yeah, he's fun. Why? No reason, I said quickly. You just laugh more when he's around. She frowned. Are you jealous? No. I mean, maybe a little. She laughed softly. Ethan, come on. He's your best friend. You're being silly. Probably, I said, forcing a smile. She kissed my cheek. I love you, you know that, right? I do, I whispered. And I wanted to believe it. A week later, I caught her phone buzzing on the counter. Ryan's name flashed on the screen. Hey, I called from the living room, Ryan's calling you. She appeared instantly, grabbing the phone before I could even blink. Oh, thanks, she said quickly. Everything okay? I asked. Yeah, she said, smiling too fast. He was just checking about the surprise party for Mia. Right, I said, nodding slowly. The one you told me not to ask about. Exactly, she said, relieved. You're catching on. I laughed lightly, but something about the way she turned her phone face down after every text started to stick in my mind. That night, Ryan texted me too. Ryan, you and Em up for a movie night this weekend? Me, sure, what are we watching? Ryan, whatever she picks. You know she runs the show. I smiled at that. It sounded innocent enough. But then I looked over at Emily, scrolling through her phone, smiling faintly, the same smile she used to give me. During one of those lazy evenings, she lay with her head on my chest, tracing circles on my shirt. "Do you ever think about the future?" she asked softly. "All the time." "What do you see?" "You," I said without hesitation. "Maybe a house, maybe kids. I just see us." She went quiet for a moment. "That's sweet." "Sweet?" I laughed. "That's all I get?" She looked up at me. "It's just scary, you know. Everyone changes." "Not everyone leaves," I said. She smiled faintly. "You sound sure of that." "I have to be," I said. One night, Ryan and I sat in my apartment while Emily got ready for dinner. "She's good for you, man," he said, opening a beer. "You've mellowed out since college." "Yeah," I said, watching her silhouette in the hallway. "She makes everything calmer." He chuckled. "Careful. Calm gets boring." I frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing," he said quickly. "Just saying, she's got that spark. You gotta keep up with her." Emily walked in just then, hair down, perfume trailing the air. Ryan whistled. "Damn, Em, you're making us both look bad." She laughed, tossing her hair. "It's not hard." Ryan grinned. I smiled too, because that's what I did. But inside, something uneasy shifted. That night, as she fell asleep beside me, I stared at the ceiling, hearing her soft breaths. My chest felt tight. I told myself I was overthinking. That jealousy ruins good things. That she was mine, and Ryan was my friend. I whispered into the dark, "You trust them both. You have to." And I did, until the night she looked at him instead of me. "Hey, Em, you've been on your phone a lot lately," I said, leaning against the doorway. "Who's keeping you that busy?" She looked up from the couch, half smiling. "It's just work, Ethan. We're planning the fundraiser." "You know that." "Work," I repeated, trying to sound casual. "At midnight?" Her eyes flicked up, then back to her phone. "You're doing it again," she said, her voice tight. "Reading into things that aren't there." "I'm not," I stopped. The way she said it, calm but sharp, made me feel like the villain. "I'm just asking a question." "Well, stop." She dropped her phone onto the table and crossed her arms. "You're starting to sound paranoid." That word stung. Paranoid. Like I was imagining things. But she didn't see what I saw: Ryan suddenly canceling our double hangouts, Emily hiding her screen when I walked in, the late-night notifications lighting up her face in the dark. "I'm not paranoid," I said quietly. "I just notice things." "Like what?" she challenged. "That I have a job. That I talk to people. Like how Ryan doesn't come around anymore. Like how you lock your phone when I sit beside you." Her jaw tightened. "You think I'm cheating?" "I didn't say that." "You didn't have to," she snapped. "It's written all over your face." Silence. The kind that fills the room like smoke, choking you slowly. I wanted to believe her. God, I did. I wanted to think I was just tired, overthinking, turning shadows into monsters. I miss how we used to be," I said finally. "Before all this." She sighed, her shoulders relaxing a little. "Then stop accusing me. Maybe if you trusted me more, things would feel normal again." "Trust goes both ways, Emily. I haven't done anything to break it." "Then show me," I said before I could stop myself. "Let me see your phone." Her eyes widened, like I'd slapped her. "Wow," she said, standing up. "You really don't trust me, do you?" "It's not about trust, it's about honesty." "No, Ethan," she cut in. "It's about control. You want to check my phone, my messages, my life. That's not love. That's obsession." The words hit like ice water. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. She grabbed her purse and headed for the door. "Where are you going?" "To clear my head," she said sharply. "Before I say something I'll regret." The door slammed. I stood there for a long time, staring at the space she'd just left. My reflection in the window looked hollow, like I was watching someone else's life crumble. Ryan's name kept flashing in my mind. The timing of his distance. The sudden coldness in Emily's eyes. The small, careful lies she thought I couldn't see. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every sound felt louder, the tick of the clock, the hum of the fridge, the faint vibration of a phone that wasn't mine. I stared at the ceiling until dawn, my chest tight. Maybe she's right. Maybe I am overreacting. But deep down, something twisted inside me. That quiet, persistent voice that wouldn't shut up. You know what you saw. You know what's happening. The next morning, she acted like nothing had happened. Coffee? She asked, cheerful, like the night before was a dream. Sure, I said, forcing a smile. She handed me the mug. You look tired. Didn't sleep much. Ethan, she said, placing a hand on my arm, I love you. But if you keep doubting me, you'll ruin this yourself. Her touch was soft, her voice calm, but her eyes? They didn't match. They were cold. Detached. I'll try, I said, though it sounded hollow even to me. She smiled faintly. Good. Because I'm not going anywhere. But I noticed her phone face down again, her thumb lingering near the lock button whenever I got close. Later that week, Ryan texted me, hey bro, been busy. We should catch up sometime. I replied, sure. You and Em both disappeared lately. He didn't answer. That night, Emily came home late. Traffic, she said quickly, hanging up her coat. At 11 p.m.? Her tone hardened. Do we really have to do this every time? I hesitated. If everything's fine, why are you acting like I'm the problem? Because you are, she snapped. You don't trust me, you question everything I do. You think love means interrogating me. I swallowed the lump in my throat. I just want the truth. The truth, she said bitterly, is that you're suffocating me. I stepped back. I'm sorry if that's how it feels. It's not how it feels, Ethan. It's what it is. She turned away, her voice trembling now. I need space. Please. I watched her walk to the bedroom, the sound of the door closing softer than the breaking inside my chest. When she was gone, I stared at her half-empty coffee mug on the table, the lipstick stain on the rim fading in the dim light. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was losing it. But the silence in that room didn't feel like peace. It felt like a warning. And deep down, I knew, love wasn't supposed to feel like a secret you're not allowed to ask about. It happened by accident. I wasn't looking for proof, I was just looking for my charger. Emily's laptop was open on the kitchen counter. The screen lit up when I brushed the touchpad. I froze. A message thread blinked at the top of the screen. Ryan's name. Can't stop thinking about last night. Her reply, you shouldn't say that here. Then another, you know you liked it too. My hands went cold. My breath caught somewhere between disbelief and nausea. I scrolled, each line cutting deeper than the last. The laughing emojis. The late-night plans. The things she'd never said to me in months. When the front door opened, I shut the laptop slowly, like I could close the truth with it. Hey, she said, setting her purse down. You look like you saw a ghost. I didn't answer. My voice was gone. My heart was pounding too loud for words. Ethan, she asked, stepping closer. What's wrong? I finally looked up. How long? She blinked. What? How long have you been sleeping with him? Her face drained of color. What are you talking about? Don't lie to me, Emily. My voice cracked. I saw the messages. Her lips parted, trembling slightly. You went through my laptop? Don't turn this around, I snapped. Just tell me the truth. She backed up a step, crossing her arms. It's not what you think. Then what is it? I demanded. Because from what I read, it sounds a hell of a lot like you've been sneaking around with my best friend. Her voice broke. It didn't mean anything, Ethan. The words hung in the air like poison. Didn't mean anything? I repeated. You cheated on me, with Ryan, and you want me to believe it didn't mean anything? Tears welled in her eyes. It just happened. We were drunk, and things got out of hand. How many times? She looked away. Once. Don't lie again. She swallowed hard. Twice. My chest tightened. Twice? I laughed bitterly. You call that nothing? I didn't plan it, she cried. I was confused, we were fighting all the time, Ryan was just there. Yeah, he was always there, wasn't he? I said. Every dinner, every weekend, every fight. He was waiting for me to slip up. Stop it, she said weakly. It wasn't like that. Then tell me how it was. She hesitated. He listens to me, she whispered. He makes me feel alive, Ethan. You don't. For a moment, the room spun. My knees almost gave out. Alive? I echoed. You destroy me and call that feeling alive? She wiped her eyes. I didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't mean to. You had choices, Emily. Every text, every lie, you chose this. She stepped closer. You've been distant for months. You barely looked at me anymore. Because I was trying to keep us together. I shouted. Because I thought I was the problem. You were, she whispered. The silence after that felt infinite. I took a shaky breath. I loved you more than anything. And you gave us away for him. Her tears fell faster. I didn't love him. Then why him? Because he reminded me who I was before everything got heavy, she said softly. You made everything so hard, Ethan. I stared at her. I made it hard? You cheated, and I'm the problem? You never see me anymore, she said. You see your version of me, the one that cooks, smiles, forgives. But I'm not her anymore. I shook my head. You could have told me that. You could have talked to me. I tried, she yelled. You just didn't listen. No, I said quietly. You stopped talking before I stopped listening. She looked down, her hands trembling. I'm sorry. Don't say sorry, I said, my voice breaking. Say goodbye. She gasped. You're ending this? What else is there to save? I said. You broke it. You broke me. She stepped forward, reaching for my hand. Please, Ethan, don't do this. I pulled away. Did you think I wouldn't find out? Her voice cracked. I didn't think. I just felt. That's the problem, I said. You followed a feeling and burned everything in the process. She covered her face, sobbing. I don't know who I am anymore. I watched her cry, and for a second, I almost pitied her. But then I remembered the messages. The laughter. The lies whispered in the dark. Neither do I said coldly. You took that from me. She looked up, eyes red and desperate. Please, I'll do anything. I laughed softly, bitterly. You already did everything. The front door loomed behind her. I pointed to it. Go. Ethan. Go before I say something I can't take back. Her lips quivered, but she turned. Each step she took echoed like a countdown. When the door closed, the silence hit me harder than her words ever could. I sank to the floor, staring at the faint glow of the laptop screen still open on the counter. The chat window blinked again. Ryan, are you okay? I typed 3 words before deleting them. Then I shut the laptop for good. The room felt smaller somehow, the air heavier. I whispered into the emptiness, you made me doubt myself for months, and I still loved you. No one answered. Just the hum of the fridge and the soft drip of my own tears hitting the floor. That's when it hit me, love doesn't die in an explosion. It dies quietly, the moment you stop recognizing the person beside you. And tonight, she became a stranger. 3 days of silence. Not the kind that cools things down, the kind that makes walls echo. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I just existed, waiting for a sign that something could be salvaged. It never came. That night, I packed. The small things first: toothbrush, charger, socks, like I was afraid of making noise. When Emily walked in, she froze at the sight of the half-empty closet. "You're leaving?" I zipped the bag. "Yeah." "Ethan, please don't do this," she whispered. "We can fix it." "Fix what?" I asked quietly. "The cheating? The lies? The part where you told me Ryan makes you feel alive?" She flinched. "I didn't mean it like that." "You meant it enough to say it." She moved closer. "I've been going crazy. The silence is killing me." "Good," I said. "It should." Her lip trembled. "You're not even trying to forgive me." I turned to face her. "Forgiveness doesn't bring back trust. It just covers the wound so no one sees the scar." Her eyes glistened. "So that's it? You're walking away from everything we built?" I nodded slowly. "Because you already burned it down." She reached for my arm. "Don't say that. I made a mistake." "People make mistakes when they forget who's standing beside them," I said. "You didn't forget, you replaced me." Her voice cracked. "I never stopped loving you. Then your kind of love hurts too much to survive." We stood there in the dim apartment, surrounded by the ghosts of laughter and late-night talks. Every corner had a memory clawing to stay alive. She took a shaky breath. "Please, Ethan. Don't go. We can start over." I sighed. "Do you even hear yourself? You want to start over on the ashes of what you destroyed?" "I'll do anything," she said. "Therapy, moving away, cutting contact with Ryan. Anything." I stared at her, searching for the woman I once knew. "You already did everything," I said softly. "You did everything that made this impossible." She covered her face, crying into her palms. "I don't want to lose you." "You already did," I whispered. She looked up, eyes swollen and desperate. "Say something, anything but goodbye." I swallowed hard. "Goodbye, Emily." She shook her head violently. "No, you don't mean that." "I do," I said. "Because staying would mean pretending I could ever look at you and not see him." Her breath hitched. "Please don't hate me." "I don't," I said. "That's the problem. I wish I could." The air between us was thick with all the words we'd never said. I wanted to hold her, to erase the last week, but my hands stayed at my sides. "I never wanted to hurt you," she whispered again. "And I never wanted to stop loving you," I said. "But here we are." She stepped closer, reaching out one last time. "Can I hug you? Just once?" I hesitated. Then nodded. Her arms wrapped around me, trembling. I felt her heartbeat against mine, familiar, fragile, wrong. When she finally let go, I stepped back. "Take care of yourself," I said. "You too," she murmured. "Where will you go?" "I don't know yet," I said. "Just, somewhere that doesn't smell like us." She bit her lip. "Will you ever come back?" I shook my head. "If I do, it won't be for the same reasons." The silence that followed was unbearable. I grabbed my bag and walked to the door. Her voice cracked behind me. "Ethan?" I stopped but didn't turn. "I'll never forgive myself," she said. "Then maybe that's your punishment," I replied. "Living with what you did." I opened the door. Cold night air rushed in, hitting me like freedom and grief tangled together. The hallway felt endless. Each step away from her sounded heavier, like my shoes were filled with stones. I didn't look back. Not once. Outside, the world was quiet, no cars, no voices, just the distant hum of city lights and the echo of my own heartbeat. I took a deep breath, tasting the night air like it belonged to someone new. For the first time in months, I didn't feel trapped. I just felt empty. But maybe emptiness was a start. As I walked down the street, I whispered to myself, love shouldn't feel like survival. The words hung in the air, dissolving into the dark. And with that, I kept walking. My sister opened the door before I could even knock twice. "Ethan," she said softly. "You look like hell." I gave a half smile. "That's the general consensus." Come in, she said, stepping aside. You're staying as long as you need. The moment I walked in, the smell of cinnamon candles and laundry detergent hit me, normal, simple things that made me feel safe. I dropped my duffel bag and exhaled for what felt like the first time in weeks. She watched me quietly. You want to talk about it? Not yet, I said. If I start, I won't stop. Then don't, she replied. Just, rest. That night, I lay on her couch staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. Emily's face. Ryan's silence. The sound of the door closing behind me. It all looped like a cruel movie I couldn't turn off. The next morning, she handed me coffee. You have that look, she said. What look? I want to fix everything even though it's not my job to look. I laughed bitterly. Yeah, that's about right. She sat across from me. Ethan, you don't have to be okay right now. I know, I said quietly. But I don't know what else to be. Her expression softened. Start small. Eat. Sleep. Breathe. That's enough for now. So that's what I did, small things. One meal at a time. One sunrise after another. At night, when the silence got too heavy, I started writing. Not for her. For me. The first line in my journal read, I lost her, but I think I was losing myself long before that. It felt good, ugly but freeing. The page didn't argue back, didn't accuse, didn't cry. It just took what I had to give. A week passed before my phone buzzed. Emily, I hope you're okay. I stared at it for a long time before deleting it without replying. The next day, Ryan texted, I didn't mean for it to happen like that. I blocked him too. My sister noticed. Cutting ties, she asked. Yeah, I said. It's the only way I'll stop bleeding. She nodded. Good. Let them live with what they did. I don't want them to live with guilt, I said. I just don't want them to live in my head anymore. She smiled faintly. That's a better kind of revenge. I started running every morning. At first, I barely made it a mile before collapsing on the curb, gasping. But each day, I went a little farther. It wasn't about fitness, it was about control. My body, my pace, my pain. Some nights, I'd come home drenched in sweat, open my journal, and write lines like, healing isn't pretty. It's just proof that I didn't die there. One evening, my sister sat beside me on the couch. You're different, she said. Is that good or bad? Good, she said. You're lighter. Still sad, but not drowning in it. I still think about her, I admitted. But it's quieter now. Like remembering someone from a dream. That's healing, she said. When love stops hurting and just becomes a lesson. I looked down at my hands. The lesson being? She smirked. Don't date people who text your best friend at midnight. I chuckled, the sound foreign but welcome. Fair point. Later that night, I scrolled through old photos, vacations, birthdays, moments that used to mean something. I deleted them all. Each one felt like closing a chapter one should have ended long ago. The next morning, my boss called. Ethan, you coming back to work or should I start hiring your replacement? I laughed. I'll be there Monday. Work was harder than I expected. People asked questions I didn't want to answer. Rough week? You look thinner. Everything okay? I just said, yeah, getting there. Because maybe I was. At lunch, my coworker Mark said, man, whatever happened to you, it either broke you or rebuilt you. Can't tell which. Maybe both, I said, sipping my coffee. That night, my sister found me on the porch, staring at the stars. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I said. For the first time, I think I am. She handed me a cup of tea. You know, I'm proud of you. For what? Existing? For choosing peace instead of chasing closure. I nodded slowly. Closure's just another word for control. I don't need it anymore. She smiled. Now you're starting to sound like someone who's healing. I looked out at the quiet street. It's weird. I thought leaving her would feel like losing everything. But it's the first time I've actually found myself. She raised her cup. To finding yourself. I clinked mine gently against hers. To starting over. The night air was cool against my skin. Somewhere deep down, I knew I'd never forget Emily, but I also knew I didn't have to carry her anymore. When I went to bed that night, I wrote one last line in my journal before closing it: I'm not who I was when she broke me. I'm someone learning how to live again. And for the first time since it all began, I slept through the night. When I saw Ryan's name light up my phone, I froze. Months had passed since everything fell apart. I thought I'd buried that part of my life for good. But there it was, his message: can we talk? Just once. I stared at it for a long time before replying, why now? He texted back almost instantly. Please. I owe you that much. I didn't owe him anything. Not a minute, not a word. Yet some small, restless part of me wanted to hear what he had to say, maybe not for closure, but for confirmation that I wasn't crazy. So I agreed. Tomorrow. Cafe on 9th, noon. When I walked into the cafe the next day, the smell of burnt coffee hit me before I even saw him. Ryan sat in the corner, hunched, his hair unkempt, eyes dull. He looked like a shadow of the smug man who once smirked at me from across a dinner table. He stood up when I approached. Ethan. I nodded and Saturday, Ryan. Silence stretched between us like a wall neither of us wanted to climb. Finally, he exhaled. You look good. Better than last time you saw me, I said flatly. What do you want? He rubbed his face, avoiding eye contact. I guess I just needed to face you. To say. I'm sorry. I leaned back. You're sorry. I repeated it slowly, tasting the words like something bitter. For what, exactly? For everything, he muttered. For being that guy. For hurting you. For. I cut him off. For sleeping with her? His eyes flickered. Yeah. That too. I didn't flinch. I'd rehearsed this moment 100 times in my head, all the ways I could yell, mock, or laugh. But instead, I felt calm. Detached. Like I was watching someone else's story play out. He sighed. She's gone, Ethan. I raised an eyebrow. Gone? She left. About 2 months ago. He swallowed hard. Found someone else. Said she needed space. Said I was too controlling. I almost laughed. That's funny. She said I was too distant. Ryan gave a dry chuckle. Guess we were both wrong for her, huh? Or maybe, I said quietly, she was wrong for both of us. He nodded slowly, his fingers trembling around his coffee cup. You know, I thought I was winning back then. Getting the girl, proving something. But it's all empty now. I studied him for a moment. You thought love was a competition. Yeah, he admitted. And I lost. I leaned forward slightly. No, Ryan. You didn't lose. You just learned too late what the game cost. He dropped his gaze. She cheated on me with someone from her office. I found the messages. The same way you did. Something inside me twisted, not satisfaction, not pity. Just a quiet recognition. He laughed, hollow and tired. Funny how it comes full circle, huh? Guess karma doesn't waste time. Karma's patient, I said softly. It waits for when it hurts the most. He nodded, rubbing the bridge of his nose. I deserve it. Every bit. I didn't say that, I replied. But maybe you needed it. Ryan looked up, his eyes glassy. You don't hate me? I thought about it. About the nights I couldn't sleep, the mornings that started with silence instead of love. Then I shook my head. I did. For a long time. But hating you didn't change anything. It just kept me stuck. He exhaled, relief mixed with disbelief. You're a better man than me. No, I said. Just a man who finally learned to stop bleeding for people who don't care if he heals. He stared at me for a long moment, then whispered, I really did think she loved me. I know, I said quietly. So did I. Silence again. But this time, it wasn't heavy. It felt final. He reached across the table. For what it's worth, I hope you find someone who actually deserves you. I met his gaze. And I hope you learn to deserve yourself first. He gave a faint smile. You always did know how to end things. Yeah, I said, standing. I just wish I'd known when to end them sooner. As I walked out of the cafe, the sunlight hit my face, warm, honest, alive. My reflection in the glass door looked older, maybe, but lighter. For the first time in months, my chest didn't ache. Karma had spoken, not with vengeance, but with quiet truth. And I didn't need to see Emily's face or hear her excuses to know the universe had settled the score. Sometimes justice doesn't come in explosions or apologies. It arrives in a quiet coffee shop, wearing the face of the man who once destroyed you, now broken in the same way he left you. And as I stepped onto the street, I realized something simple but powerful. I didn't want revenge. I wanted peace. It started with an empty document and a blinking cursor. No plan, no purpose, just a quiet urge to let something go. I titled it, To Emily, though I already knew I'd never send it. I took a deep breath, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Then I began. Hey Emily, I typed. For a moment, I stopped. The name itself carried weight, memories, pain, echoes. But I kept going. I don't even know why I'm writing this. Maybe because there's nothing left to say, but too much left unsaid. I'm not angry anymore, not really. I just need to close this chapter properly. The sound of the keys was steady now. You once told me I was the calm one, the one who never shouted, who stayed even when everything inside me screamed to leave. Maybe that was my mistake. I thought love meant endurance. I thought if I held on long enough, we'd find our way back. But love isn't supposed to feel like survival, is it? I paused, reading the words out loud. My own voice sounded foreign. I remembered that night, her tears, my silence, the sound of the door when I finally walked out. When you said Ryan made you feel alive, it broke something in me. Not just because you chose him, but because you said it like I never could. I spent months wondering what that meant. Was I boring? Too careful? Not enough? I asked myself every question except the one that mattered. Did I ever make myself feel alive? I leaned back in the chair. My reflection stared at me in the laptop screen, older now, but softer. You know, I hated you for a long time. I wanted to erase every trace of you, your laugh, your perfume, the way you'd hum when you cooked. But the truth is, hate is still a form of attachment. It keeps you tied to what broke you. So, I stopped feeding it. I let it starve. My phone buzzed on the table, a message from Lily. Dinner tonight? Don't be late, Red Heart. I smiled a little. Lily wasn't like Emily. She didn't fill silence with noise or affection with conditions. She listened. She saw me. I returned to the letter. There's someone new in my life now. She's gentle. Honest. The kind of person who doesn't need drama to feel alive. With her, I don't have to earn peace, it's just there. And for the first time, I'm not waiting for the other shoe to drop. I hesitated, fingers hovering again. That doesn't mean I've forgotten you. You'll always be part of my story, Emily. The part that hurt the most, but also the part that forced me to grow. Because of you, I learned where my limits are. I learned that love without respect is just attachment dressed up as passion. And I learned that forgiveness isn't about letting you back in, it's about letting myself walk free. A knock came at my door. My sister's voice followed. You okay in there? Yeah, I called back. Just finishing something. Dinner in 10. Got it. When the footsteps faded, I looked back at the screen. Sometimes, I still think about that morning when you smiled at me like nothing was wrong. I wonder how you did it, how you carried betrayal so casually. But then I remember, maybe it wasn't easy for you either. Maybe you were already gone long before I noticed. Maybe we both stayed out of fear, you, of being alone, me, of being unloved. I stared at the last line, exhaled deeply, and kept going. I don't blame you anymore. Not for choosing him, not for leaving, not even for the lies. You were doing what you thought would make you happy. We all do. I just wish I'd realized sooner that happiness can't come from trying to fix someone else. Outside, rain started tapping softly against the window. It felt fitting somehow, cleansing. You probably don't think of me now. Maybe you've moved on, maybe not. Either way, it's fine. Because this, I paused, typing slower now. This isn't about you anymore. It's about me finally saying goodbye without bitterness. I read through everything again. There was sadness in it, yes, but also relief, a gentle acceptance. Then I added one final paragraph. If we ever meet again, I hope we can smile and mean it. I hope by then, we'll both be people who learned from what we broke. I don't wish you pain, Emily. I wish you understanding, the kind that only comes after everything falls apart. I ended the letter with one final line. You broke me to pieces, but in those pieces, I found myself. I stared at it for a while, letting the words settle like dust in sunlight. Then I hit save, not send. The letter wasn't meant for her. It was meant for me. I closed the laptop and sat in silence, letting the quiet fill the room. Lily called from the kitchen, Ethan, you're going to burn dinner again. I laughed. Coming. As I stood, I felt something shift inside, not a burst of joy, not a wave of sadness, just calm. Like the end of a storm. I walked to the kitchen. She was there, humming as she stirred pasta sauce, hair tied back, face glowing under the warm light. Smells good, I said. She grinned. Better than last time, I promise. Even if it's not, I'll still eat it. She nudged me playfully. You're just saying that because you're hungry. Maybe, I said, smiling. Or maybe because I've learned what really matters. What's that? She asked, handing me a plate. Honesty. Peace. Knowing when to let go. She tilted her head. Deep thoughts tonight, huh? Just finished writing something, I said. Another journal entry? Something like that. We sat together, talking about nothing and everything. There were no heavy pauses, no undercurrents of doubt, just warmth. After dinner, when she dozed off on the couch, I glanced at my phone. For a brief moment, I thought about deleting Emily's contact. But I didn't need to. It didn't mean anything anymore. She was already gone, and so was the part of me that needed answers. I opened my journal and wrote one last line beneath the printed letter. Forgiveness doesn't rewrite the past, it frees you from reliving it. Then I closed the book. Outside, the rain stopped. The night air felt cool and new. I stepped out onto the balcony, looked at the city lights, and smiled, not because I'd won, but because I'd finally stopped losing myself to the past. Emily had once been my beginning. But now, she was just a lesson, one I'd finally learned. And as the wind brushed against my face, I whispered to no one, thank you for breaking me, Emily. You helped me find who I really am.